Okay, so we already have seen the BJT biasing conditions. I mean, this is a typical BJT biasing, which is also known as single resistor biasing or single resistance biasing, wherein we have seen how to solve this if given different parameters. Okay, and the idea was to find what is the value of RB and RC. So we found there are three equations, and we can solve those three equations in order to figure out what is the RB and RC. So I already have said this particular circuit is influenced by external parameters like temperature, because beta is a function of temperature. If temperature rises, beta will change. At the same time, temperature has an effect on VB on as well. So this biasing is not generally preferred, because if temperature affects these two terms, then your actual ICQ and VCQ may shift or change. So we have maybe a better option, which we'll see later, and this is the reason why this circuit is not generally preferred. Although in any of the circuits you will find the effect of temperature, you cannot just remove the effect of temperature completely, but the idea is how can I minimize the effect of external parameters like temperature, humidity, etc. Okay, so before that I said the amplifier biasing conditions, the load line, and how the load line changes with the value of RC that you choose. So this value of the resistance RC is really important. This will decide where your load line is. So if you take a very high RC, it may happen that your load line is very low somewhere here, which is in the off state, so it will not work at all. So deciding the value of RC is important for a given VCC. And then I have said this BJT biasing, and then I also have discussed the another biasing which is very popular. So here I have shown you how to solve this biasing condition. We have this many equations, so if you take help of these equations, you can solve for a given parameters. And I also have discussed one example related to this, wherein different parameters are given, and using this technique, how do you solve the whole equation. So you may check once in your home, so see if these things are correct. So this example is more or less the equations at least has been shown. Just now you need to solve the problem. So one thing that you need to remember is these terms are in kilo ohms. So everywhere I wrote 0.5 k value, right? So consider this kilo ohm. That means everywhere you should put into 10 to the power 3. So these units somebody has to be very careful about. Sometimes the currents are in milliamps and we forget to put 10 to the power minus 3. For kilo ohms, we forget to put 10 to the power 3. In that case, you will get a wrong value. So be careful while you are solving. And I also said these type of circuits are also very common in national level competitive examinations like GATE, NET, and similar examinations. Okay. I also have said another technique of solving the same. If your beta is high, you will find this current is negligible, so you can consider this and this current to be same, neglecting this, and in that case you can use voltage divider to figure out what is the voltage. So this is another way of solving it. So you can solve the same problem using this technique as well and see what is the result. You can do it as an homework. So now we are going to see the amplifier, which is made of another device, okay, which is MOSFET. So mostly we'll be working with MOSFETs. As I said previously as well, we are bound, or we are almost forced to use MOSFETs for designing analog circuits, and this is a bit challenge as well. You have a better device with your hand or in your shelf, but you cannot use it because of different constraints. I discussed this previously as well. Now this is a typical circuit of MOSFET device, the biasing circuit. So if you look at this circuit, you'll find you have a VDD value, you have a VG value, and the source is grounded. Now if you follow this loop, you'll find your VG is equal to VGS plus IDS into RS. One thing you should note that in case of BJT, here IC and IE was not exactly equal. There are beta by beta plus 1. Between IC and IE, there is a term which you need to multiply. Although for higher beta, beta by beta plus 1 is almost equal to 1, but they are not exactly same because you have a small IV current flowing through. For higher beta, you have a small IV current flowing through the base terminal. That's why these two are not equal. But in this case, in case of MOSFET, you don't have any current in this because you have a large oxide sitting here. So you won't get any current from this side. So your IDS is flowing through RD as well as RS. So in this case, you can use the same current for both. So life is little bit simpler, right? So you'll find for saturation region, IDS is equal to beta by 2 VGS minus VT whole square. We have taken lambda to be 0. If it is not specified, you can take lambda to be 0. If you take lambda, your things become very non-linear and it becomes very difficult to solve it analytically. So it is better to take lambda to be 0 when you are calculating the current. But remember, for output resistance, you cannot neglect lambda, because in that case, if you say lambda equal to 0, then your output resistance is infinite, which is good theoretically, but physically it is not possible. So in case of output resistance, remember to take the value of or consider the value of lambda. However, in this case, to make life again simpler, we are neglecting this term. So you are end up with this equation: IDS is equal to beta by 2 VGS minus VT whole square, or this is an over voltage, you can write beta by 2 VOV whole square. One thing that I want to say is, until and unless we say any bias voltage, this substrate bias voltage, you take it as 0. Okay, that means you have a bulk here, you consider it like this is grounded if not specified, and all the MOSFETs that are taken into consideration are NMOS if it is not specified. If it is specified as PMOS, then take PMOS. If it is not mentioned, take it as NMOS. If it is not mentioned, take the bulk is grounded, the substrate is grounded. Don't consider any substrate biasing. So these are few things that you need to take care, or you should remember. Okay, so from this and this equation, from this equation 1 and equation 2, you will find VGS equal to VG minus IDRS from equation 1. Now replace the value of IDS in here. So you will find VG minus beta by 2 VOB square into RS. This is your VGS value. Now in order to fix VGS value, we have two options. For a given RS, you need to fix VG and VOB. However, if you see, VOB is nothing but VGS minus VT. So if you fix VOB, your VGS is fixed, right? But still, in this case, if I say, if you want to fix your VG, you have to control VG and VOB for a given RS value. And if you replace this in this equation, in the place of VOB, that is VGS minus VT whole square, then you will find a quadratic equation of VGS which you can solve to figure out what is the VGS value. Okay, and in this case, this RS resistance is known as degeneration resistance. Okay, I will discuss about this later. Just to mention the name, I said that the value of this resistance is known as degeneration resistance. Now this is the one DC biasing for a MOSFET amplifier. Okay. Similarly, that I have shown in BJT, you have a similar biasing in case of MOSFET as well, as I have shown in case of BJT. So it's everything is same, you just replace the BJT with MOSFET. Now in this kind of biasing, you have RG1 and RG2. Previously it was RB1 and RB2. Okay. Now why it is called common source? This is common source, right? Why it is called common source? Because your source terminal is common to input cycle as well as output. It's common to input side as well as output side. That's why it is called common source amplifier. Now how many loops are there? There are two loops. One is this one, another one is this one, right? These are the two loops. Now just to, somebody may say, how come you can say this is a loop? Just to clarify if somebody has any confusion. This is VDD, right? So we can consider this as a power source which is connected to ground. This is VDD, which is plus minus, and in this case this is VG, right? So we can connect a source and connect it to ground. So you can now see there are clearly two loops, right? Just to, this circuit and the circuit that I have drawn in blue are basically same. I think you know by now, but still I showed just to remove any confusion in mind. Now let us see this circuit. If you want to measure the value of RD, consider the potential error here as VD and potential here as VS. So your RD value will be VDD minus VD divided by IDS. Similarly, your RS value will be VS minus 0 divided by IDS. This is written here. And what is the value of IDS? Remember, we are only operating in the saturation mode or saturation region. So in saturation region, your IDS value is beta n by 2 VGS minus VT whole square, which is also beta n by 2 VOV whole square, right? So these are the equations for this biasing. Now let us see one problem. Okay, if you solve it, then you will get to know what are the equations. So say this is your problem where RD value, RS value, IDS value, VDD value is given. Your beta n value is also given. VT is equal to 1 volt. And if you see, your purpose of this whole problem is to figure out RG1 and RG2 so that your IDS value is 1 milliampere. So this thing you can say design, because when you design something, you first need to fix what is your IDS value you want, and based on that you bias your circuit. And for that biasing, what is the RG1 and RG2 value you need, you calculate. So this is kind of a design. So if you look at this one, okay, then you can write, say you consider this loop or this path. What you are getting? VDD is equal to IDS RD, right? IDS RD plus VDS plus IDS RS, right? Now keep VDS in one side and take both of them on the other side. So you will find VDS is equal to VDD minus, let me make it even more clear. So you have VDS plus IDS into RD plus RS, right? From this equation you have just taken this IDS common in both the cases. So you have VDS plus IDS into RD plus RS. Now your VDS will be VDD minus IDS into RD plus RS, right? Now you have VDD value 30 volt, you have IDS value 1 milliampere, you have RD and RS value 5 and 10. So 5 plus 10, remember these are kilo ohm, so 10 to the power 3. This is milliampere, so 10 to the power minus 3. So these two will cancel out. You have 10 plus 5, 15 into 1, 15. So 30 minus 15, you have 15 volt. This is your VDS. Now where we are operating? We are operating in saturation region. So for saturation region, your condition is your VDS value should be higher than VGS minus VT. This is your condition for saturation. Now what does that mean? This means that VGS value should be less than VDS plus VT. Just take this in that side. So your VGS is less than VDS plus VT. So your VGS is less than VDS plus VT. That is what it is written. Now your VDS value is 15 volt and your VT value is given here as 1 volt. So it is in total 16 volt. The condition is your VGS, whatever will come, should be less than 16 volt. If it is not less than 16 volt, it is not in the saturation region. Okay. So in the next slide, I have written the equation that we received previously as well, that VG is equal to VGS plus IDS RS. Which path we followed? We followed this path, right? Started from here and ended here in the ground. So your VG is equal to VGS, this drop, plus IDS RS. Now you have VGS, you put IDS value, which is 1 milliampere, it is written. So 1 into 10 to the power minus 3, and RS value is 10 kilo ohms. So 10 into 10 to the power 3. So these two will cancel out. You have VGS plus 10. Your VG value is VGS plus 10. Now what is the equation for IDS? Your IDS is beta n by 2 VGS minus VT whole square. Consider lambda equal to 0. Okay, even it is mentioned, I think, lambda equal to 0. So if lambda equal to 0, your beta n by 2 VGS minus VT whole square is equal to IDS. So you know IDS again, 1, and you know beta n value. What is the beta n value given? 2 milliampere per voltage square. So you put 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. These 2 will go on top. So 2 into 1 milliampere and root, because this is square over here, so you have put root, and this VT will be plus VT because you are changing the side. So if you calculate this, 2 will cancel, 10 to the power minus 3 will cancel. So this is basically 1. So 1 plus 1 equal to 2 volt. So your VGS is 2 volt, which is definitely less than 16 volt. So we assumed saturation, we performed the calculation, and we found, yes, it is satisfying the saturation region. So things are fine over here. Then what is your VG value then? Your VG value becomes VGS plus 10. So VGS is 2 plus 10, that is 12 volt. So you got your VG value. Now what is the VG value from this side? See, one advantage you have is these two currents in this case is exactly same, because you have no current going through gate. Previously there was a current IB, which for higher beta you neglected, but in this case it is 0, so you don't need to neglect or do something. So your current is same, so you can directly apply a voltage divider like previous. So your VG will be, that is this VG will be RG2 divided by RG1 plus RG2 into VDD. So VG you already calculated 12 volt and VDD is 30 volt. Now do simple algebra. You'll find 12 into this is equal to 30 RG2. Now 12 RG1 is equal to 30 RG2 minus 12 RG2. So if I subtract 12 from 30, how much it will come? It will be 18. Am I correct? So your ratio between RG2 and RG1 is here. So if you consider RG1 to be 9 mega ohm, your RG2 will come 12 into 9 divided by 18. So these are 2. So it is basically 6 mega ohm. So you have the values RG1 and RG2 for the given condition, right? Now why I took mega ohm in this case? Because it's a ratio, right? I can take kilo ohm, I can take ohm, but generally in this case take these values higher. Okay, if you take these values higher, anyways current also flows in this direction, right? Current flows VDD, current also flows in this direction, right, from VDD. So if they are very small, they'll drain a lot of, lot of current will flow through this and you will lose a lot of power unnecessarily. Okay, so it will not be a good circuit in terms of power. So it is better to keep those values little higher, and later maybe you'll see that if you keep these higher, you also have less effect of this this part. So anyways, now at least for power it is very clear. If you keep these two small, it will be a trouble in terms of power. Okay, so this type of problems you may face in different examinations. Okay, so you can practice few of this kind. Okay, this will be helpful.